Good morning. I'd like to call to order the Human Resources Appointments and Equity Committee meeting. Today is Tuesday, November 21st. Council Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Calling the roll, Ms. Brown.
Here.
Mr. Gallagher.
Here.
Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones is absent at the moment. Mr. Miller.
Here.
Ms. Conwell.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Councilman Jones contacted me to let me know he will not be able to attend the meeting today. So while it is not required as a courtesy, I'd like to make a motion to excuse his absence. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, he is excused. Is there any public comment related to the agenda?
No, no one has signed in.
Can I have approval of the minutes from the October 3rd meeting, please? Is there a motion to approve?
A motion to approve minutes from the October 3rd meeting.
Is there a second? It's been moved and second. If there are no questions, comments, or concerns, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you. We will now move to matters referred to the committee. As you can see, we have quite a hefty agenda, and I appreciate everyone coming out today, especially before the holidays. So we're very grateful for your attendance. I'm going to turn it over to the council clerk so she can read the first item into the record.
Resolution number 2017-0194, approving the appointment of Oz Azali to serve on the Cuyahoga County Soldiers and Sailors Monument Commission Board of Trustees for an unexpired term ending 11/5/2020.
Thank you. And is Mr. Cross, is this something you can speak to, or? Oh, Khalil, I'm sorry. This is ours. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Madam Chair. As this is a council appointment to the Soldiers and Sailors Monument as the taxing authority,
yes.
We reached out to the Soldiers and Sailors Monument Commission, and they recommended in October that we appoint Mr. Azali to this unexpired term ending 11/5/2020. Mr. Azali is very well accomplished and I think well recommended to this position. In terms of his qualifications, he is accomplished academically, accomplished professionally, dedicated to public service. He has served in our military and is a veteran, and that's one of the categories of service here on the Soldiers and Sailors Monument as well. Currently engaged in public service at the City of Cleveland, and I think also of note, has already been volunteering with the Soldiers and Sailors Monument, and I think that is something to be considered as well in favor of this appointment. Okay,
thank you. Mr. Azali, are you present?
Yes.
Okay, would you please step forward, state your name for the record, and if you would give us a brief background and why it is that you like to serve on this commission.
Absolutely. Hello, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Oz Azali. My background would be U.S. Army, Iraq War veteran, Korean defense veteran as well. I hold an MBA and Bachelor's of Science. I'm also working with the Department of Public Utilities, Cleveland, Ohio. My interest is always war history and also preserving the monument for further generations. That's the gist of my entire interest.
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, I want to thank you for your service, and I want to thank you for your willingness to be a part of this commission. I'm going to open it up to my colleagues if they have any questions they'd like to ask Mr. Azali with regards to his appointment. Yes, Councilwoman Conwell.
Through the chair, just wanted to know how long you were in the service. You look very young.
Yeah, thank you. I was there for 4.5 years. Did 15 months in Iraq and 18 months in South Korea.
All right. Thank you for your commitment to willing to serve.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, with the background that Khalil provided us, and with your willingness to serve, I think you would be a great addition. Again, I think you'll be a tremendous asset, and we are very, very honored to have you be a member of this commission. So I'd like to make a motion to move this to the full body of the council. Is there need for second reading suspension, Mr. Saran?
No, Madam Chair, there's no need to rush it.
Okay, thank you very much.
I'll second the motion.
All right, it's been moved and second. If there are no questions, comments, or concerns, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, this will move to the full body of the council. Thank you for taking the time to come out, and we look forward to working with you on this commission. Thank you so much. Council Clerk, will you please read the next item?
Resolution number 2017-0197, confirming the county executive's appointments of various individuals to serve on the Cuyahoga County Archives Advisory Commission for the term 12/1/2017 through November 30th, 2021, for the individuals that are printed on the agenda.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, Mr. Cross, I'm going to turn it over to you, or will I turn this over to Ty? Will give us a little bit of background on this particular appointment.
I'll fill you in a little.
Okay, thank you.
So this is pursuant to Ordinance 2014-0028. Cuyahoga County established an Archives Advisory Commission. It's a 9-member board of which promotes the identification, preservation, historical records, ensures access by Cuyahoga County and the general public. The executive has made the 5 appointments. Obviously, the bios, resumes are attached. Deborah Abbott, Ken Bravo, Isabel Klein, Keith Peppers, and Chris Garrett, all accomplished and all different fields and backgrounds, and you can read the bios and resumes, and all 5 would make tremendous additions in their own right to the board. The members of this board are not compensated and serve for a 4-year term beginning 12/1/17 and commencing 11/30 of 2021.
All right, thank you very much. Since the term begins on the 1st, and our next meeting will be next week, so we'll need a second reading suspension on the.
That would be fine, yes, thank you.
Okay, all right. And if there are no objections, we're going to go in the order as printed, which is alphabetical. So we'll start with Ms. Deborah Abbott. If you're present, please step forward.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
I
Councilman.
have a couple questions.
Oh,
Mr.
absolutely. Go
Cross.
ahead, sir.
Is this commission currently in existence, or is this the initial set of appointments?
That I believe it's in existence, but I think these appointments have been around for a long time. So I think it's just the executive. I think it just took a long time to get these appointments together. So I think it's been in existence, but I think it's been a long time coming, to say the least.
What I'm asking is, this commission is not yet operating. Is that correct?
I think you're correct.
Okay. My only other comment is that I would have been looking for the former council president on this list, Miss C. Ellen Connolly. She certainly took a tremendous interest in archives matters. So we're thinking about her as we put this together.
And I'll relay that to the executive as well.
Thank you for that, Mr. Miller. Councilman Miller, Mr. Krause, I think I heard you say there are 9 seats available, and this looks to be 5.
It's a 9-member board.
9-member board.
Of which these are the 5 appointments.
Are there 4
I
vacancies?
believe so.
So there is a possibility that we
Correct.
can honor Councilman Miller's request or suggestion down the road. Okay. All right, Councilman Gallagher.
Is the archivist here? I have a question.
Yes, please step forward. State your name for the record. And you'll push the green button. But push, and you'll see the light up. It's just a push button.
My electronic skills.
That's okay.
Oh, right there. Thank you.
There you go.
All right, I'll repeat my name. Judith Satina.
Okay.
Hi. Last time I think I saw you at the old place that we were at.
That's right.
The concern that I have, if there is a concern, is that, as Mr. Miller said, ex-President Connolly and myself were really instrumental in pushing for the archive building, and there were some bumps in the road there, some further bumps in the road, not your fault. In my opinion, we're kind of like in the berm of boondoggle city here. Are we getting back on the highway over there, or what is your opinion as to where we're at and where we're going, and when are we going to fully experience this building?
Well, at the moment, our third floor, which will be the permanent home for the archives in the building, which is at 3951 Perkins, the corner of East 40th and Perkins Avenue, the new furniture has arrived. The research areas are well lit, natural light. We have opportunities for people who have electronic equipment so that they will be able to bring their laptops and their computers. It's Wi-Fi enabled, so I think it'll be a more pleasant and fruitful environment for people who are coming in to do research. We have brand new shelving that has been erected. Records are going up on shelves as we speak. So the Rhodes House had a great deal of charm, and I loved it dearly. I was in the building a little short of 40 years, so it was a home for me. But at the same point, it did have liabilities, and I think this is going to help the archives move into the future. Actually, one of the things I'm hoping with our advisory commission is the opportunity to perhaps develop a strategic plan to review where we are and where we should be moving in the future, initiatives that should be adopted. I'll also mention we have a wonderful space set aside so presentations can be given. We can have guest speakers so that it is, the area has been specifically designated for multi-purpose. And one of those activities would be to have individuals come in, sponsor workshops. We'd like to be interactive, want to be part of the community, and I think that's part of our role in the greater Cleveland community to help bring history to life. So we are very pleased with that. Obviously, there are going to be ups and downs, and there are certain obstacles that we've encountered, as you would encounter in any type of a construction project, but it is certainly moving forward. So I think it is indeed a step in the right direction, and we just need to. Also, we are going to get some new equipment. I think that will be advantageous to our researchers in viewing microfilm. So I'm pleased. I didn't know how I would respond to it, but I am very happy that this has taken place. I'm also an East Sider, so I'm a little closer to home now.
Okay, so you have the necessary resources to effectuate for the public. The needs.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. If there are no further questions, comments from the committee to Ms. Satina, then we will proceed with the appointment candidates, starting with Ms. Deborah Abbott. If you'll please step forward, state your name for the record, and give us a brief background about yourself and why it is you'd like to serve on this commission.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Dr. Deborah Abbott, and I am a professional genealogist. I'm a graduate of Tuskegee University. I have a bachelor's and a master's degree from there, and I have a PhD from Kent State University. I'm a retired professor from Cuyahoga Community College, and presently I am a genealogical speaker, I guess you can call it. I travel the country doing that. And I've had the opportunity to research in many archives, including Cuyahoga County Archives. I am the president of what we call the Cleveland District Roundtable. It is made up of 17 genealogical societies in this area. I am on the trustee board of the Ohio Gen Society. And so with our 17 societies, we come together, we talk about things that need to happen, and one of the things that came across our table some years ago was the move for this archives, and we became very concerned about that. And I think we let the county know that we were concerned about that. And so I'm pleased that we are going to move forward in trying to make sure that our county archives is going to be one of the best in the state of Ohio. I look forward to that. I know it can happen. And I'm hoping that you will allow me to be a part of making it happen. I agree with Ms. Satina in that I think that we need to make sure that the people of Cuyahoga County and Ohio know that we are here, that they know that this archives exists and the treasures that it holds. And so in doing that, we will need, in my opinion, need to do some things that are going to bring the public to the archives so that they will understand by programming speakers and so forth. And I think I can be very helpful in that. And the fact that I do research in a lot of archives, so I'll be able to see firsthand how the different archives are moving forward, how they are meeting the challenges of today, and hopefully bring back that information for Cuyahoga County.
Thank you very much. I'm going to open it up to the committee, but first I have a couple of questions. My apologies for not addressing you as Dr. Abbott with Elizabeth, but you earned that, so I want to honor that title. What led you to this area of study?
Well, it started out as a hobby, and then it turned into this passion. And I always say genealogy is a disease with no cure. And so I have that disease. But I started it because I knew absolutely nothing about my own family. Little bit, but not much. I didn't know a lot about them. And I happened to get an invitation to a family reunion from some people I didn't know. And I went, and it was my family. And so I heard a lot of things I didn't know about, and I came back home and started trying to research. And then I realized that this wasn't a very expensive hobby, time-consuming and expensive. And so I have gone to and educated myself to learn this to the best of my ability. And in fact, I do teach it. I teach in Salt Lake City, where they have the largest genealogy library in the world. I teach in Athens, Georgia, where there's a 50-year institute for genealogy, IGHR. And they've got a brand new one where I'm teaching in Montgomery, Alabama, at Alabama State University.
Awesome. Are there any specific initiatives that you would like to see come out of this commission?
Well, the things that I was thinking that we could do and be helpful with, Mrs. Satina has already addressed those things. I wanted us to have a genealogical library or a research library that would be very pleasant and easy to use for the public. And I wanted us to start doing some kind of programming where people would be aware that we exist, just as they do at the Ohio History Connection and some of the other archival, the National Archives, for example. They do programs where they're teaching people about records and genealogy. And I would like to see this archives do the same thing.
All right, thank you. Those are my questions. I'll open it up to the committee. Councilman Gallagher, and then Miller.
Thank you, Doctor. I'm glad to see that you're going to be on this. That's going to be very helpful. I actually did my DNA. Does that fall into anything that you do?
I try to stay away from that. Yes, it does.
I would tell you, the only reason I mentioned that is I wish I had, because I'm in the 1%. I never thought I'd make the 1% of anything, but I'm in the 1% of Neanderthal. So I may be the closest thing. And my number was so high, I may be an actual caveman. So I just wanted to tell you that. So you never know what you're going to find. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Councilman Gallagher. Councilman Miller. Okay, and then Councilwoman.
Madam Chair, just a comment that you seem to be exceptionally well qualified for this particular board, and we're lucky to have you and appreciate you stepping forward and being willing to serve.
Thank you very much.
Councilwoman Conwell.
Through the chair to Dr. Abbott, no personal question, but in terms of your programming and marketing that you would like to see, Mr. Kraus, the administration has a wonderful communication department that could really maybe start working on that now. I'm going to roll out the red carpet for a couple of things that that I want to see this council have, and one would be the archives being finally in place, and because we've been working on this for what, Mike, 7 years. So look at maybe you can actually work with the director and get that marketing and stuff, and they can start putting it on the website. That's a good way to market it. Say it's coming soon, that it's moved.
Yes.
Instead of waiting till you actually move.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's a good suggestion. Well, if there are no additional questions, comments, or concerns, we're going to move to our next candidate. We'll make a motion once we've heard from all the candidates. So I thank you for coming and your time. If you'd like to wait, I don't anticipate any objections. But we'll ask our next candidate, Mr. Kenneth Bravo, to please step forward. Thank you very much, Dr. Abbott. And Mr. Abbott, if you'll follow with that same procedure, if you'll step forward, state your name, and give us a brief background and why it is that you'd like to serve on this commission.
Good morning, Chairperson Brown and members of the committee. My name is Ken Bravo. It's a pleasure to be here this morning to address the committee. My undergraduate degree is in economics from Rutgers University in New Jersey. And after graduating from the Ohio State University Moritz College of Law in 1967, I went to work for the United States Department of Justice, where I spent 12 years prosecuting major fraud and organized crime cases. I then went into private practice of law here in my hometown of Cleveland, and I retired at the end of 2012 after having spent the last 18 years of my career as a partner at Ulmer & Byrne here in Cleveland. I've been involved in genealogy since the mid-1970s, and in my retirement, I've had even more time to devote to that passion. This past July, I was elected president of the International Association of Jewish Genealogical Societies, the umbrella organization for approximately 75 Jewish genealogical societies throughout the world. As an aside, I'm pleased to be able to share with you the fact that in 2019, the IAJGS is bringing its international conference here to Cleveland. We're expecting somewhere between 900 and 1,000 genealogists from all over the world, from places like Australia, South Africa, Israel, Europe, Great Britain, North and South America. And we'll be here. Actually, we've rented the Hilton Hotel, the former site of the county government, in the end of July and beginning of August 2019. As a genealogist, I am a frequent user of archives, both here in Cuyahoga County, throughout the United States, and even abroad. Additionally, I currently chair the advisory committee for the Jewish Archives of the Western Reserve Historical Society. I believe that archives play a vital role in preserving our history, and I believe that I have the experience and interest to be an asset to the Cuyahoga County Archives Advisory Commission. I would note I see you have my CV in your packet of materials, so with that I will stop and be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. I'm going to open the floor up to the committee if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. I'm looking at your resume, and I see that you have been in some publications. Any relative to your genealogy research?
The publications are basically from my law career.
Okay.
But I would note that I've been a frequent speaker at genealogical conference, including at RootsTech in Salt Lake City, which is the largest genealogical conference in the world. I've spoken at the International Association of Jewish Genealogical Societies conferences. I've spoken at the Ohio Genealogical Society conferences. I've spoken to many local genealogy societies and many other interested groups.
Thank you. And I see you mentioned the conferences coming in 2019.
Yes.
Was there any working with Destination Cleveland as it relates to that?
We worked with Destination. When I did the proposal to our board a couple of years ago, about a year and a half ago, and I did get information from Destination Cleveland that I used in the presentation to our board, citing in particular Cleveland's location. Because my theory is if you draw that 500-mile circle from Cleveland, which I consider to be driving distance and therefore more affordable for people to come. You obviously pick up Chicago, Detroit, Toronto, New York, Philadelphia, Washington, Baltimore, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Columbus. It's a huge population of people who can drive to the conference. And I think we will make that conference therefore more affordable. People can carpool together, they can share a hotel room together, and I think I want to show off Cleveland. I'm very proud of it. I tell people sometimes I wish I were younger, because for so many years I watched Cleveland promise, and the county promise to do things, and they're finally they've come to fruition. And I also tell people, I think when the RNC was held here, the national press came to town expecting to see rust and riots, and I think they were very pleasantly surprised that we have fine restaurants, and it's a beautiful city, and there was a lot to do, and so I'm very proud of it.
Thank you. Well, I want to congratulate you and thank you on that awesome achievement. I think it'll be a great opportunity again to show off our wonderful city and county, and that is also the county-owned hotel, so we're proud to have you host your event there. So unless there are any other questions, comments, or concerns, yes, Councilwoman Conwell.
Through the chair, to Mr. Bravo, do you have any background protecting the documents, the actual things that we archive in?
Protecting them, you mean, as an archivist?
Yeah.
I'm a lay person in that regard, and I look to people like Dr. Cetina, who have the expertise and who are actually archivists. I know enough about that to be dangerous, probably, but I certainly want to learn.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Unless there, Councilman Miller.
Just a quick thank you for your willingness to serve and also for helping to bring the convention to Cleveland. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think the entire committee echoes that sentiment. So I would, again, thank you for your time and coming out today. We're going to move on to our next candidate, Ms. Isabel Klein. And if you'll, again, state your name for the record, give us a brief background, and let us know why you'd like to serve on this commission.
Thank you for having me today. I'm Isabel Klein. I prepared some statements. Thank you for having me today and inviting me to speak on my desire to serve on the county's Archives Advisory Commission and on my credentials and experiences I bring. I desire to serve on the commission for the following reasons. First, I'm a lifelong resident of Cuyahoga County, and I am dedicated to preserving the history of our communities. Second, I have worked in Cuyahoga County in an archival capacity at the Artist Archives of the Western Reserve for a year before beginning my career in public libraries. Third, I care deeply about the collections and the dedicated staff of the Cuyahoga County Archives, as I have worked there as a volunteer intern since 2014. My academic and professional credentials and experiences will be an asset to the commission. First, I hold a master's in library science from the University of Maryland, College Park, with a specialization in archives and records management. Second, I completed my graduate academic internship at the Library of Congress in the Prints and Photographs Division, PNP, and continued to volunteer with PNP until I graduated, gaining invaluable insight and experience. I currently work at the Hudson Library and Historical Society in Hudson, Ohio. Part of my time is divided between work in the Youth Services Department and the archives. In addition to traditional archival responsibilities, I have focused on outreach to the community, creating historical walking tours of Hudson for children and collaborating with the archivists on history camps for kids. Fourth, as mentioned earlier, I am familiar with the diverse and important collections of the Cuyahoga County Archives, as I've worked as a volunteer intern under the supervision of Dr. Judy Cetina since March of 2014. I've been afforded the opportunity to appraise, arrange, and describe archival records. In addition, I have assisted in research requests by patrons and staff. Last, I'm a member of the Academy of Certified Archivists, ACA, a professional archival certifying organization established in 1989. I have passed the Academy's archival certification examination this past July. Again, thank you for having me here today.
Thank you, Ms. Klein, for your willingness to serve in this capacity. I might seem a little biased, but you look young, and so I was just curious about how you might be able to engage other young people in this area, and if there are any initiatives that you would like to promote or reach younger people.
Sure. As I said, I have done quite a bit of outreach around history and archives in my current role at the Hudson Library and Historical Society. And I think it's really important to get young people into the archives and make it fun. So it's something dear to my heart. And I think by having, whether it's like a camp or something like that to drop young people in, it's been a huge success in Hudson. We have 40 kids for the last 2 summers coming to our camps. The first year, we did a Roaring 20s adventure camp for kids in 4th through 6th grade. And this past year, we did a bebopping 1940s camp. And it has just drawn so many kids, and the reception by parents has been phenomenal. And there are so many invaluable collections that I think we can really tap into at the county archives and bring young people in, and use social media too. I've been in charge of my own PR at the Hudson Library, so I am aware of how to do a lot of PR and outreach through social media as well.
Thank you. And I also see that you bring the skills of grant writing to
Yes.
to the table. So is that something you'll be exercising as one of the
I
members
would
of this
love,
commission?
yes, I would love to do that. I wrote I'm writing the final report for an Arts Around the World grant for children, and then I just collaborated and received a State of Ohio Library grant to conserve a woolly mammoth tusk that was donated to the Hudson Library by a polar explorer that is being conserved. So that is an archival grant that we just got as well. So I have both the youth and the archives grants.
Excellent. All right. Well, I want to personally congratulate you and thank you for your willingness to serve. Congratulate you on being one of the candidates to be appointed. I'm going to open it up to the committee and see if they have any questions, comments, or concerns. There being none, I'm going to go on to the next candidate. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank
And if Mr. Keith Peppers is present, please step forward and state your name for the record. Give us a brief background and let us know why it is you'd like to serve on this commission.
Hi, my name is Keith Peppers. Thank you for having me. I didn't prepare anything other than to say I didn't prepare anything. I think you get a more authentic response, for better or worse, when you don't prepare. So I have my master's in history from Cleveland State. During my academic career, I interned and volunteered at a variety of different organizations around the Cleveland area, including the Cuyahoga County Archives when I was an undergrad. I interned at the Cleveland Museum of Art in their collections department while I was there. And currently I am employed as a professor, archivist, and historian for Baldwin-Wallace University. I teach all of the required public history classes at Baldwin-Wallace and oversee the university archives. So my interest in serving on the board is bringing people into the archive and getting them to engage with history. You know, the archives is the repository for all of the, or many of the historical documents that tell the story of, you know, Cleveland and the departments that deposited their records there, and you know, who are we without, you know, the path we've taken to get where we are today. So by serving on here, I'm hoping I can continue to collaborate as I've done in my other positions with organizations, and encourage students to engage with the archives and the public in general.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I am going to open it up to the committee for any questions, comments, or concerns. There being none. All right. Well, I want to thank you for your willingness to come before us and serve in this capacity. This is, again, a valuable asset to Cuyahoga County, and people's willingness to come to serve on these committees and come down and share your background experience and why you want to be here is very important to us. And so I'm going to thank you again for your time and presentation and ask if Chris Garrett is present. If you'll please step forward. And if you'll state your name for the record and give us a brief background and why you'd like to serve on this commission.
All right. My name is Chris Garrett, and I thank you for having me here today and for considering me for this to join this commission. My professional background, I am an analyst for passenger train safety, reliability, and maintainability for an engineering firm out of Los Angeles, which is very well for me because they're 3 hours different in time, so I can work later in the day. And my coworkers don't usually roll into their office until noon, so I get to do what I want during the day.
Nice.
But anyway, my role as a analyst, and I've worked in the engineering engineering field for 40 years, has afforded me the ability to really learn about records management and records research. It also provides me the ability to pay for that disease that Dr. Abbott had mentioned, the genealogy disease. I got interested in genealogy when I learned at a young age. My father had been living in an orphan after his father passed when he was a young boy, and he knew nothing about his father and his grandparents and so on. So I went ahead and did that research, and then I started helping other people. And next thing you know, I became the president of the Fairview Park Historical Society in 2012 after serving as their archivist for a couple of years. I then seek some volunteer time with the county archives in 2014 and have been working for Dr. Satina since then. Best job in the world. Doesn't pay as well as an analyst, but you know, it still is the best job I've ever had. I love doing genealogy. I love the idea of looking down and drilling into records, trying to find that missing piece of information or conflicting information. I also serve for the City of Fairview Park. I am on the Records Retention Commission for the city. I'm on the Mayor's Speed Dial for history-related questions, whether they want to redevelop a piece of property or restore something to historical value meaning. And I sit on the Century Home Committee for the City of Fairview Park as well. So my role as an analyst in working with records and that I think has really been very well to teach me more with the genealogy, what I can find, how I can manage the records. I have the computer systems at home, so I'm able to put my fingers back on information. I think that's a key, is to be able to step back and refine what you're looking for and know where to look for it. That's it, so I'm really interested in doing this.
Thank you very much. You touched on something that just made me curious as it relates to conflicting information. If you get something where they're conflicting dates, or would that be an example of conflicting information?
Yes.
How do you go about verifying or determining which source is right or wrong?
I always look for another source of information.
Okay.
And I look for the original documents versus something that has been transcribed, because when things are transcribed, errors can be made.
Awesome. Okay. And that was the only question that I had. Any other questions from the committee? Comments or concerns? Yes, Councilman Miller.
Just want to thank you very much for your willingness to serve. And I just got to, having seen all the applicants now, I just have to commend the county executive and you, Mr. Kraus, for the hard work and effort to really reach out into the community and find people with highly specialized knowledge in this area. I think it's really an exceptionally high quality set of candidates. It's very well targeted to the particular role. So I just say thanks and congratulations.
Thank you.
I think the entire committee would agree with that. And if there are no further questions, comments, or concerns, then I would make a motion to, thank you very much, move the recommended candidates to the full body of the council under second reading suspension. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. If there are no questions, comments, and concerns, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you very much. All right, this will move to the full body of the council. Thank you, Dr. Satina and Mr. Krause, for the wonderful recommended candidates. We're going to move on to item C. Council Clerk, will you please read it into the record?
Resolution number 2017-0198, confirming the county executive's appointment or reappointment of various individuals to serve on the Metro Health System Board of Trustees for various terms for the individuals that are printed on the agenda.
All right, thank you very much. We'll move according to the agenda. I have Mr. Robert Hurwitz, who is first. And I'll also ask Mr. Krause if you would just briefly touch on, or Dr. Boutros, who would like to speak. Dr. Boutros, would you like to speak to the candidates that are before us?
So now I get hot questions?
No. Good morning.
Good morning, Doctor.
Thank you very much for having us. The county executive has put forward 4 reappointments to essential members of the Metro Health system. Mr. John Moss, who could not be here today. Mr. Moss has been incredibly active and chairs our quality committee. He has helped Metro Health improve its quality over the term of his tenure of the past 7 years. J.B. Silvers, who Dr. Silvers also could not be here. Dr. Silver is a nationally renowned economist, health economist. He is a frequent writer in the New York Times and interviewee on CNN about healthcare economics. Dr. Silvers serves as the chair of the Metro Health Finance Committee and was instrumental in helping us determine the pathway for the bond issuance last year. Mr. Terry Monley, who's here, the second longest serving member of the Board of Trustees. He has chaired the Facilities and Planning Committee of the Metro Health System, and there's probably no larger role right now or more important in oversight of what Metro Health is doing than that role, and he's certainly overseen massive expansion of the Metro Health physical plant. Finally, Ms. Vanessa Whiting, who serves as secretary and chair of the Diversity Committee. Ms. Whiting actually started the founder of the Diversity Committee of the Metro Health System and has been responsible for us moving the Metro Health agenda and multiple national and local recognitions we've received in advancing diversity at the Metro Health System. So these are the reappointments, the new appointments. You'll hear regarding Bob Hurwitz and Arlene, and you'll find out how extraordinary they are in adding to the Metro Health System. Mr. Hurwitz is an accomplished businessman, and I think will probably ask me really tough questions in the board meetings. So I welcome that, and we're also adding to the diversity in the community by having Arlene be a member. So I'm really excited and welcoming the new members and the reappointment of current members. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns for Dr. Boutros regarding the Board of Trustees? There being none, I thank you, and I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Hurwitz. Yes.
Just Ms. Brown?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
I'll just add, and in addition, so this is all provided by Chapter 339 of the Ohio Revised Code with regard to both the operation of a county hospital and the appointment of the trustees. It's a 10-member board with 6-year terms. These are executive appointments subject to county council. And the other thing I should add is also revised code 339.02F1 provides that the executive needs approval from both the senior member of the probate court, which is Judge Russo, and also the senior member of the Court of Common Pleas, which is Judge Friedman. And both have provided their approval and their signatures to all of these appointments, both the new appointments, Mr. Hurwitz and Ms. Anderson, and also all the reappointments, the 4 reappointments of John Moss, Terry Monolly, J.P. Silvers, and Vanessa Whiting.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman Conwell. You have a question?
Through the chair to Mr. Kraus, for the new appointments, who are they replacing?
It's a good question.
You know I always ask that question.
I know you do.
I'll try to remember. So Ms. Anderson will be replacing okay, so Spain is 2020, correct? So Mr. Hurwitz will be replacing Charles Spain, and Ms. Anderson will be replacing Tony Minor, who left the board about a month ago.
Okay.
So that's the terms are ending. So there is still one more open appointment that the county executive is looking to fill.
And Dr. Boutros, in the case of Charles Spain, he had served some time on the board.
20 years.
Okay, so his time was kind of up, or is there any term limits?
There are no term limits, but the county executive is looking to, I think, bring additional new blood to the board.
Okay, and in terms of Mr. Minor, he didn't serve long at all, so it's kind of like...
He served about 2 years, and I think because he's pursuing other positions that would conflict with his time, he did serve us incredibly well, and actually started the Community Impact Committee as the chair of that, but he is pursuing other avenues.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Councilman Miller.
Since we have 2 that are filling unexpired terms, I'm wondering whether there's interest in having this passed under second reading suspension.
Yes.
Yeah, doubly yes, thank you.
Okay.
You're gonna get to speak at some point, Mr.
Eventually.
I think now is the time. Unless there are any other questions, comments, or concerns, we're gonna turn the floor over to you.
I've enjoyed the process, but so when I went from thinking I was a replacement, now an understudy, so far I wasn't sure. But before I even get into it, I've been an admirer of Metro's mission. A couple of years ago, I think it was about 3 years ago, I was at a men's club meeting on a Monday morning. Dr. Boutros came in and presented to us with such passion about what his hopes and plans were for Metro that I kept saying, well, there's a place I really would like to get involved with. And I didn't know, how and when that opportunity would come. And I had the conversation with the county executive, and it seemed like he was looking for, I didn't realize it was a reappointment, but an opportunity. And I just think that, you wait a long time to be involved in something that you can approach with passion and that you feel prepared for. And that's how I feel about, serving on this board. I think their mission is amazing. I think of them as the only community hospital we have here in town. I've done some work at the Neurological Institute of the Cleveland Clinic and at the Wellness Institute of University Hospital, and a little bit at Veterans at the VA. And when I see the ability of all 4 of these hospital systems operating in some sort of a coordinated fashion, at least I hope that they will be eventually, and I think of Metro as the leader in the community hospital field, I think that's a place I'd like to put my energies. So that's the reason that I would like to serve. And I listened to your conversation before about being a Neanderthal. So I also took the test. And I took that test at the time I decided that I was going to change my eating habits and exercise habits. And it turns out that because I did have those Neanderthal genes, the way I started to eat made all the difference in the world. So I've never been healthier since I made that change, but it's about 18 years ago. So I just think that some of the skills I've learned as a businessman and some of the skills I've learned in my own personal journey would serve the community, serve Metro, and serve me quite well, and I would enjoy being involved.
Okay. Awesome. Well, I look at you. I have a little personal story. I didn't realize this as I'm looking at your bio. Was your office one that was formerly located on Northfield Road or Warrensville Center Road?
Yeah, that was the 5th office that we had. It originally was actually in Solon.
Okay. All right, and that was probably in
the low rent area.
Mary Lex. So that was probably in the 90s about that?
Well, you talk about Office Max. It started in 86. We didn't get to Northfield till somewhere around 92.
92. I did some work around your building for a while. We'll have a conversation offline.
I hope I didn't do anything.
No, it's actually. I will say this. You had a beautiful office, a very, very, very beautiful executive office. So I remember that. I just saw that in your bio. So that was. It's good to. I know you wouldn't remember me, but it's good to see you again. So I am going to open it up to Councilman Gallagher.
Brother Neanderthal. we all have that except for the folks on the Pacific Rim. So, but I was off the charts, so I hope you weren't with me. When we first started, and the only reason that we're here as the body that we are is the county obviously had some problems. When we came in, Metro had problems. They were somewhat ignored compared to the problems that the county had. A couple of us at the time took a particular interest in Metro Hospital, its mission, its goals, its direction. And I wouldn't say, I think everybody has good intentions, but I think one of the big problems was the board, not necessarily as a whole, but in some individuals seemed to be a problem. And over time, those folks have been replaced. We appreciate their efforts, but someone mentioned 20 years on the board. That can get stale sometimes. Sometimes losing institutional knowledge is a bad thing, so you have to balance it. I think since we've been here, we have approved of new individuals and individuals that have had history on the board as reappointments. And in my opinion, being one of those people that was passionate, and sometimes the passion was not thought of in a particular good way, but our passion was our passion. Our passion was that Metro be the best that it could be for the people, indeed, of who it was intended to be good for. I think we've done a really good job. And looking at your bio and your history, I think you're going to fit in just great. And I'm really proud of the way Metro has moved forward. And there became a particular time in which I think that happened. That was, I'm not just saying it because he's here, because I've said it before, was having Dr. Boutros appointed has, I think, righted the ship. I think making newer appointments and maintaining those that were on the board as reappointments have helped maintain that ship being righted. I think Metro's going in a great direction, and I'm certain you'll be a good part of that. And I hope Dr. Boutros stays with us to maintain that. And as a board and as administration, we're really excited about what's happening at Metro. I drive the curve not every day, but many days, and I saw the crane today, and it kind of gave me goosebumps. I don't know if anybody really appreciates that. The construction's a messy thing, obviously, but it's a good thing when you hit that curve and you know what's coming. So I look forward to having you on the board. I'm sure they're looking forward to having you on the board, and I'm looking forward to the new Metro and the expansion of Metro throughout Cuyahoga County and surrounding counties in Northeast Ohio that is going to provide the benefits to those individuals that you target. So welcome.
Thank you very much. Any other questions?
Okay, I don't think there are. We'd like to thank you for your time. We're going to go in the order of our candidates for appointment. So if you would like to stay once we've gone through the items, then we'll make a motion. But I don't foresee any objections to welcoming you to this awesome Board of Trustees, and we thank you for your willingness to serve in this capacity, Mr. Hurwitz. And the next candidate is Ms. Arlene Anderson. If you'll please step forward, state your name for the record, give us a little bit of background and why you'd like to serve on the Board of Trustees.
My name is Arlene Anderson, and I am a lifetime resident of the greater Cleveland area. I'm the president of Minority Business Solutions, which is a diversity consulting company that help with the inclusion and diversity on construction and supply chain projects. I really have a personal interest in Metro Hospital only because they saved my mom's life years ago. And this is really a way for me to give back. It's really funny how things come full circle. When I was in school, I studied healthcare administration and kind of deviated from that after leaving. And so I think that this is really a great place to be. I'm looking forward to being part of the Transformation Project and just really, as a longtime community activist, bringing the hospital closer to the community. And so I look forward to it.
Thank you so much for that. I'm going to open it up to my colleagues for any questions, comments, or concerns. Yes, Councilman Miller.
I'd like to thank you very much for stepping forward to serve on this very important board. And I got to ask you about the 300,000 signatures. I looked at your resume here, and it says as director of Northeast Coordinator for Field Works, responsible for gathering over 300,000 valid signatures. Can you tell me, was that locally here in Cleveland, or was it somewhere else, and what kind of issue was it for, and what was that like, and what were the results?
So in one of my other former lives, I used to work heavily in campaigning. And so I was in charge, I was the Northeast Ohio coordinator for a campaign to bring the casino to the area. And so at that time, it didn't pass. I believe Mr. Ratner was leading that effort along with some other individuals locally. And so we collected over 300,000 signatures in the greater Cleveland area. Well, in Northeast Ohio, not just the greater Cleveland area. So that's where that comes from, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns?
You know, I would add that I did some work. I oversaw collecting 2,000 or 3,000 signatures to get a presidential candidate's name on the ballot in Ohio, and I can tell you it's way more work than it looks, and way more difficult than it appears to someone on the outside. All the work involved in keeping track of who has petitions and getting after people and get them done and get them back and following your deadlines. And it's just, I can't imagine handling 300,000 signatures. It's a monumental task.
Well, thank you very much, because that's actually how they got on the ballot. It was because of the work that we did in Northeast Ohio. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Councilwoman Conwell.
Through the chair to Ms. Anderson, any conflict of interest of your role on this board?
Not that I'm aware of. There's no conflict of interest, no.
All right, thank you.
All right. I'd also like to say I've had the privilege of working with Ms. Anderson in a number of capacities as it relates to, just community, work in the community, and I can say that I believe that she will be she's a great pick, a great selection for Metro Health, and will be a wonderful advocate for ensuring that there is diversity and inclusion and things of those natures, which are very near and dear to my heart. So I thank you for coming down and your willingness to serve in this capacity, and I'm going to move on. And if there are no other questions, comments, or concerns, we'll go to our reappointments. As Dr. Boutros indicated, Mr. Moss is not present, so if Terry Monolly will would like to step forward, state your name for the record, give us a brief background and why you'd like to serve on the board.
Terry Monley. I'm a graduate of Cleveland State with a degree in structural engineering, and I've been on the board for a while. I have worked in large construction projects. When I went with Standard Oil, that's when we started the pipeline, and worked with them all the way down to Texas on refineries and bulk plants. In my career, I have built buildings in the eastern United States, and presently I'm president of DeGioia Suburban Excavating. We're a heavy highway contractor that does work with ODOT and Cuyahoga County and other counties and municipalities.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns from the committee? All right, I think Dr. Boutros's testimony sat favorably with this committee, so I have no questions, and it appears my colleagues have none either. So, being the second longest serving member on this particular board, we'd like to thank you for your continued service. And we're going to move to our final candidate, who is Ms. Vanessa Whiting. Thank you. And again, Dr. Silvers, as Dr. Boutros indicated, is not present, but I think we have letters from both Mr. Moss and Dr. Silvers with regards to their willingness to continue to serve in this capacity. So I'll now turn it over to you, Ms. Whiting.
Yes, my name is Vanessa Whiting. Good afternoon. It would be my pleasure and honor to continue to serve on the Metro Health Board of Trustees. I'm a practicing attorney, was a practicing attorney for 30 years. I was a partner at Retzel and Andrus in the area of public law, taxation, finance, real estate development. I've owned my own firm. I'm currently president and owner of AES Management, DBA, Popeyes, Louisiana Kitchen. We have 450 employees throughout Cuyahoga County and in Summit. I think the law background and the finance background have contributed, I hope, to Metro Health, as well as my interest in diversity and inclusion.
All right, Ms. Whiting, thank you very much for your willingness to serve. I'm going to open up to the council. Yes, Councilman Miller.
Just a comment. I'm very interested in having you continue to serve on this board, and I think besides your formal qualifications, I think that you have a very broad network and a lot of deep roots and connections in this community, and I think that also will serve Metro well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, if there are no additional questions, comments, or concerns for Ms. Whiting, then I am going to thank everyone for coming out that showed up today, because, again, it's always good for this committee, as well as the public who takes the time to view our live stream with regards to the appointments and members of these multiple boards. Your willingness to serve is greatly appreciated, and again, your time coming out on this day before the holiday is tremendously appreciated. So without further ado, I'm going to make a motion to move this to the full body of the council under second reading suspension. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. If there are no questions, comments, or concerns, all in favor, please say aye.
I just
yes.
like to make one comment to Dr. Boutros, through the chair to Dr. Boutros. We just want to thank you for the diversity in skills and talent that you have brought to this Metro board. Thank you.
And I actually forgot the executive.
Well, we second that, and I said in our county executive as well. Councilman Miller.
Just a comment to make anyone who's aware that's interested that on Monday, December 4th at 1 o'clock, Dr. Boutros is going to come back to present the Metro Health budget to the Finance and Budget Committee. So anybody who's interested in that, I would encourage them to attend.
That's December 4th. Where? Is that going to be here?
Right here.
What time?
Finance and Budget Committee.
At 1 o'clock. Okay. All right. So we've got
usual committee time.
Got that on the record. December 4th. If you'd like to come back and hear the overview for Metro Health, we welcome you for that. And just to make sure we have it on the record, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right, this will move to the full body of the council under second reading suspension. Again, thank you everyone for coming out and your willingness to serve in this capacity. We truly appreciate it. We're going to move on to item D. Council Clerk, will you please read that item into the record?
Resolution number 2017-0208, amending resolution number 2017-0019, dated December 9, 2014, which made an award on requisition number 30390 to Medical Mutual of Ohio for group healthcare benefits for county employees and their eligible dependents and benefits regionalization program participants, employees, and their eligible dependents for the period 1/1/2015 to December 31st, 2017 by changing the total amount not to exceed from $211,868,212.78 to $213,868,212.78.
All right, thank you very much, Council Clerk. I see Ms. Holly Woods coming forward to speak to this item, and if you would kindly just state your name and title for the record and what it is that you're requesting of this committee.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Councilwoman to the committee. So this amendment is specifically a amendment for our Board of Developmental Disabilities claims. So the activity projection necessitates a $2 million adjustment. The BODD is self-insured. So the way this goes, we administer their claims. At the end, they do a true-up. So if there's anything outside of what was paid in their premiums, the true-up occurs at the end of the year. So it is a self-insured model under the regional plan, and this specific amendment is solely for the BODD.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns from the committee? Councilman Miller.
So, does the BODD pay the additional money?
They do at year end. They do like a true up, and anything outside of what was paid from the premiums, there's a reconciliation.
So do we pay for it up front and then they reimburse us at the end of the year?
If it's outside of what they're paying in their premiums, you're correct.
Mm-hmm. And what's the projection for this year? Are they going to need to provide additional money?
Yes, so that's what this adjustment is for.
So they are going to need to pay this additional money?
Correct.
Okay.
Councilwoman Conwell.
Through the chair to Ms. Holly Woods, and how many, it's like a moving target. So can you please state how many are in the regionalization program currently we have?
Yes, so currently today we have 8 regional partners, and we know in 2018, did I say 8 or we have 10 regional partners today and 8, and we will have 8 in 2018.
So currently we have 10, and we're going to drop to 8?
Correct.
Okay. And who are the 2 that are getting out? So you knew we were going to ask that. And is that they're wanting to get out, or whose choice is it that the 2 are leaving?
They elected not to remain.
Okay.
It was Highland Heights and Rita. I'll have to double check that.
Okay, I know this is a new kind of revamp of the benefits and regionalization program. Is that something alarming that 2 opted out?
It's not. We expected, as we went into, I believe at the last meeting, we talked about kind of the transformation of the plan. And as we moved into 2017, we made a lot of changes to the plan, how the rates were calculated. And as a result, we knew in 17 going in that we were going to have some possible adjustments. And we did. We saw about half of the regional partners leave because of the new model that we were, again, trying to right set the plan and get some stabilization. So this is a second year where, again, you're starting to see things kind of level out, and you have regional partners who are still experiencing high claims, high utilization, and we're no longer charging the entire pool for all of the claims. Everybody is rated on their own claims experience. So we did anticipate that we would probably lose 1 or 2 more, but we feel confident that the plan is now stabilized and it's right where it's at and the methodology that we're using, and then looking to the future to rebuild it and hopefully gain some additional regional partners.
So when you talk about charging the pool of the group, so we're going to move in that direction and stay in that direction where everybody kind of pays their own?
That is the methodology that we're using moving forward. So historically, whatever the increase was, they all shared that same amount of increase. We're basing it on their individual experience and claims.
And what's the strengths and weaknesses of that?
So it truly bases their payments on their experience. So for regional partners that have a relatively healthy population, under the old structure, they were seeing increases even though their employees didn't necessitate the claims. And then again, vice versa. If you have a regional partner that has high claims, an unhealthier population or any type of high claims, they're actually paying for that in their claims versus those, again, that are unhealthy. So it helps drive those partners to focus on behavior changing, getting control of claims, helping employees understand healthcare, helping employees understand wellness, etc. So it puts it on the individual as opposed to charging everybody the same amount.
And before, I guess they didn't have, like we have the extra benefit plan for our employees to work out, so that wasn't in the contract. I just always assumed that they had a wellness plan as well, but they didn't.
Not all of them do, and some of them have just begun to implement, and some are looking for assistance as we've implemented ours on how we can partner and assist with that as well. So not all of them do have a wellness program in place.
Thank you.
I'm looking at the resolution. It looks like we've combined 3 resolutions to amend this contract for the $2 million. Is that correct?
So this is actually the third. I think that was your question. This is the third amendment to that resolution.
This is the third amendment, but the original was 2014-20259 was the original resolution, and then we had another one, 0215-0995, and then we had another one, 2017-0019. It looks like are these 3 different contracts?
So they're for various reasons. So again, you're talking this is a contract for both county and regional. Mm-hmm. So we've made adjustments throughout the year to both plans as needed. And this one is specifically just for BODD. So as you know, at the beginning of the year, we do some projections on what we believe costs will be. And then potentially throughout the year, we may need to adjust as there's higher claims. Or higher fluctuations of employees in the plan. So this is just another amendment, but this one being the first one specifically for BODD.
Okay, and when we say specifically for BODD, so $2 million is a nice round number. I'm guessing that's just an estimate.
It is a projection based on their experience throughout the year, and again, what we project for the remainder of the year.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Miller? No? All right, if there are no further questions, comments, or concerns from the committee, does this need to be second reading suspension?
I am requesting a second reading suspension, and just to follow up, it was Highland Heights and Rita leaving the plan in 2018.
Okay. You got Councilwoman Conwell? All right. Okay, then we will, I'll make a motion to move this to the full body of the council under second reading suspension. Do I have a second? If there are no questions, comments, or concerns, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right, this will move to the full body of the council. Council Clerk, will you please read the next item into the record?
Resolution number 2017-0209, making an award on requisition number 38730 to Matrix Claims Management Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $580,200 for workers' compensation third-party administrator services for the period 1/1/2018 through December 31st, 2020.
All right. Please state your name and tell us what it is that you are asking of this committee.
Good morning, Chairwoman. I'm Ed Morales. I'm Director of Human Resources for Employee and Labor Relations.
Good morning. I'm Kishma Haynes, the Workers' Compensation Coordinator for Cuyahoga County.
Good morning, Ms. Haynes and Mr. Morales.
Good morning. So this contract is for the county's third-party administrator for our workers' compensation program. You should be aware that the contract is the third-party administrator not only services the needs of the county executive's employees, but we also provide workers' compensation services to other entities. We serve organizations, county organizations with approximately 8,000 employees. So Ms. Kishma, Ms. Haynes is responsible for running that program. We provide workers' compensation services to the juvenile court, to the Board of Developmental Disabilities, to the other courts throughout in the system, and to other county offices. The cost, therefore, for this contract is only borne by the county executive. Only 35% of that cost is actually impacts the general fund. We are reimbursed from the other entities that we serve for the remainder of the contract for the third-party beneficiary. Matrix has been working with us since 2013. We have been very pleased with the service of the TPA. They have been responsible for helping the county save approximately $3 million through handicap reimbursements. They competed very well for the renewal of this contract. An important aspect of that was continuity in service and the good work that they performed for us over the last several years. Kishma, if you'd like to add anything.
Only that we would like to continue the trajectory that we are currently on with our current managed care organization and the third-party administrator. Cuyahoga County has experienced a 21% reduction in claims cost. And I am hoping by the end of 2018 that we'll reduce that percentage even further, which is why I asked for the continuity of services.
Thank you. So is this contract more or less or the same as prior?
Yes.
Yes, more or less or the same.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think you said more or less. Yes, it is more or less. It's approximately
increase, decrease, or is it?
It's approximately the same. Our cost over the last couple of years. For 2016, we spent $214,000. In 2015, we spent $206,000. 2014 was approximately $193,000. So it's basically the same.
All right, thank you. And there was one other question. You said there's some reimbursement that we will receive. So is this amount? Can you break it down? Because I see it's 100% funded from the workers' compensation funds, but you indicated 35% is coming from the general fund.
Yes, that's what I was told. And so, in other words, in a normal year, although it's not happening this year, because we have sufficient funds in the workers' comp fund. In a normal year, we would charge back even the county executive agencies for the workers' compensation costs that the employees working in those departments have been responsible for. And in that way, the general fund, there would be a transfer from the general fund into the workers' compensation fund, and that would be the 35%.
Okay, and as we are underway with budget hearings and whatnot, I see this contract goes through 2020. Is this a line item in Human Resources budget, or whose budget would this fall under, or is this again the 65%? Where would that fall under?
The contract is with the Human Resources budget.
Okay.
Yes.
Are there any other questions, comments, or concerns from the committee? There being none, and this looks like it can possibly go to 3 readings.
You can.
Okay, all right, good, thank you.
Sure.
We appreciate that. I know Ms. Conwell does. So I'd like to move this to the full body of the council. May I have a second? Second. All right, it's been moved in second. If there are no further questions, comments, or concerns, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right, thank you, Thank you very much, Mr. Morales. Ms. Haynes. Council Clerk, will you read the next item, please?
Resolution number 2017-0210, making an award on requisition number 40216 to Medical Mutual of Ohio in the amount not to exceed $4,210,000 for stop-loss insurance services for county employees and their eligible dependents and Cuyahoga County Benefits Regionalization Program participants, employees, and their eligible dependents for the period 1/1/2018 through December 31st, 2018.
Thank you very much. Ms. Woods, if you would please speak to this item.
Yes, Holly Woods, Director of Human Resources for Benefits and Compensation. So we did issue a request for proposal. We, for the stop-loss contract, we did solicit from five or six vendors. We did only receive one response, and that was from Medical Mutual. Medical Mutual has been our stop-loss provider since January 1st of 2016. We did do an evaluation during this RFP process to determine if the coverage amount that we have set, which is currently $300,000, was appropriate, or if we needed to adjust by either going to a lower or higher amount. This analysis is done every year. We have the benefit of utilizing our consultant Oswald. They have some very specific medical actuarial software that can do some data analytics to determine risk and impact if we were to adjust the level of our stop-loss coverage. So we are proposing that we remain at the $300,000 and that we remain with Medical Mutual for our stop-loss provider.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Woods. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns from the committee? Councilman Miller.
Madam Chair, Ms. Woods, I'm looking at this little chart that you passed out for 2015, 2016, and 2017 year to date. And I just want to know if I'm reading this right.
Sure.
The way I'm reading this right is that in 2015, we paid $2,747,921 in premium for our stop-loss coverage, and we received back $1,456,683 in claims for medical expenses that exceeded the stop-loss, so it costs us a net of $1,229,058. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And that in 2016 we have $1,801,000, and in 2017 so far $952,000.
That's correct.
This looks like it's pretty stable and predictable, and I'm wondering why we're doing this at all. I mean, if we'd have not bought the insurance for 2015, 2016, and 2017, we would have saved almost $4 million. I mean, is the risk that high that something way out of the blue could come that we need to do this? I mean, it seems like even if we had one bad year, if over 10 or 20 years, if we self-insured ourselves on this, we'd come out way ahead. So I'm wondering what you think about that.
Sure. To the chair, to the committee. So, the concept of the stop-loss insurance is how do you want to manage your risk? And to put it very simply, and I want to relate it to car insurance. Now, car insurance, you have to have it to drive legally. But the idea of where do you want, how high of a car insurance do you want to have? Do you want to gamble and not have car insurance? Have you never had an accident and then all of a sudden you have a head-on collision, your car is totaled, and you don't have the insurance? It's a risk. So the idea similarly with the stop loss is what is our risk tolerance? So I mentioned before that we went out and solicited proposals from 5 to 6 vendors, and we only got a response from 1. That signifies something. We are high risk. I would say that based on what we've had so far over the last 3 years, as you indicated, the reimbursements are not exceeding the premiums. But I would say that we're probably lucky in that a woman can have a child who, if they're born early or has any birth defects, can be $1 million claim. So do you want to be risk adverse and just gamble with let's not have it and let's see what happens? Or do you want to take some precautions and put those safety measures in? So one of the ways that we do this, because again, it's not even solely on our claims experience. When you're talking about healthcare, it's the non-anticipated catastrophic claims. You know, you can look at our chronic health conditions and what employees generally have done year after year, but you have those catastrophic claims that you can't project. People have a stroke, people have a heart attack, people come down with cancer. Again, just the idea of someone having a baby early and you're paying for, you know, the NICU and things like that. Those are things you can't necessarily project. So we use this medical actuarial software through our consultant to do some projections for just that. Is it safe where we're at? Should we increase our coverage level, pay more out of pocket, and have that at a higher level? And based on this actuarial tool, they can actually look regionally as well. So specific parts of the country are more susceptible to different conditions and things like that. And based on this medical actuarial tool, this is where we're at is kind of the safest area to stay. So again, it's really how risk adverse are we? Do we want to take the risk of not having stop loss and having a year where we have 10, 15 claims that are in the millions of dollars that we're paying completely out of the self-insurance fund? Or do you have the protection of stop loss coverage that, okay, well, if we have a good year and we don't need it, the protection was there to ensure that we're not drawing from the taxpayers' money.
Okay, thank you.
So as a follow-up to Councilman Miller, is there, do you ever see it with all of the things that we're putting in place to increase health awareness and, living healthier lifestyles? Do you see this reducing in the future or coming down, or any projections as it relates to that?
Councilwoman Brown, we would hope so, but this is also one of those things that a lot of times what you're seeing here is something that's a catastrophic claim, that it's not something that's necessarily taken care of through wellness. It's the ones where, people have suffering from cancer and their treatments are expensive, or they're having an accident or something that's life-threatening. So while I'll say, yes, we do anticipate this coming down, it's going to take some time to get there. Wellness is not something that happens overnight. It's going to take a few years to get there. But to some extent with stop loss, the claims that you're seeing hit stop loss are catastrophic, and sometimes those are unavoidable.
Okay, thank you. Councilwoman Conwell?
Through the chair to Director Woods, do you have a breakdown? I know this is for everybody that's in our regionalization program as well, but for just the county, do you have a breakdown of the type of claims that we've had in the 3-year span that Councilman Miller mentioned in terms of the stop loss claims that we have?
I can get you some information. Yes, I can get you some information specific on how many. Well, this indicates how many claims, but the dollar amounts of the individual claims, I can get that for you.
And I take it there's nothing in the contract or nothing that we could produce to say, if we do have a good 3-year period, maybe some reductions on the next time that we go with them or something like that.
It would be. It's just like, it's very similar to how we get our healthcare rates that for our premiums. This is something that's evaluated annually. So as our claims that hit stop loss decrease, it will absolutely impact our premiums in a good way. So yes, you're accurate. If we have a few good years and there's not a lot of claims hitting stop loss, we would expect to see a reduction in how much we're paying for the stop loss insurance.
Any further questions, comments, or concerns? There being none, I guess we'll move this to the full body of the council. I'll make the motion. Do I have a second? All right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right, this will move to the full body of the council, and it will go 3 readings. If you will read the, okay, if you'll read the next item into the record, please, Council Clerk.
Resolution number 2017-0211, making an award on requisition 40263 to Caremark PCS Health LLC in the amount not to exceed $56,349,720 for pharmacy benefit management services for county employees and their eligible dependents and Cuyahoga County Benefits Regionalization Program participants, employees and their eligible dependents for the period 1/1/2018 through 12/31/2020.
Thank you very much. Ms. Woods?
Yes, Holly Woods, Director of HR. So again, it was time to issue an RFP for our prescription plan. We did have out 9 invitations to submit proposals, and we did get 6 responses with proposals for prescription carriers. We had the opportunity through the prescription RFP process. Our consultant Oswald had a really valuable data analytics tool called Truveris. And Truveris is a tool that helps mid to large employers get the best deal on pharmacy benefits. So what it does is they're able to put in 3 years of our data, the prescriptions and all of the costs related to the prescription plan. And all of the prescription carriers get an opportunity to give us pricing on what that would look like if they were to be our provider based on our experience. So in addition to just reading through the proposals and the methodology of the different companies, we can get a really solid analysis of the cost proposals for each of the entities and truly see which one is best for our employees, but B, also offers cost savings and cost advantages for us. So through that Truveris process, after the first round, we did invite 2 of the vendors to come back with the last best final offer. And through that process, we did make the recommendation to move forward with Caremark. Caremark, through the Health Action Council, their projections offered us 17.43% savings over the other 5 responses that we received. So again, looking at a cost comparison from those vendors, that breaks down to about $17.7 million in savings by remaining with Caremark. And again, that's a savings that if we were to go with another vendor, we would experience higher costs. So we are recommending that we renew with CVS Caremark.
Thank you very much. Who were the other 5 respondents?
The other respondents were Medical Mutual, Envision, Optum, MPRX, and Aetna.
Thank you. And with this, is it Truveris software and analytics and projections, we shouldn't expect any addendums or increases to this contract?
I can't say with the Truveris that necessarily impacts the contract amount. Mm-hmm. What Truveris does is it's actually doing an analysis of all of those entities. It is doing an analysis of what we would pay for dispensing fees, ingredient costs, admin fees, rebates that we would experience. So it's really saying if we had all the expenses we had today, what it would be through those other entities over the next years. So it doesn't necessarily determine the cost that we're going to pay because everybody's prescriptions need vary year by year. What it showed us is based on the claims that were submitted for 16 and 17, what we would pay if we would have been with one of the other vendors. Mm. So again, just like our healthcare contracts, we do projections on what we anticipate pharmacy costs will be, but just like healthcare, we don't have the crystal ball, so we may have to adjust. We make the projections as best we can, but again, their prescriptions are like healthcare. You don't know what people are going to experience outside of the routine medications they take.
Thank you. And again, this is where we're reviewing budgets, so this is funded, or the line item is in HR?
It is, that's correct.
All right, and it's already been included?
That's correct.
All right. Any questions, comments, or concerns from the committee? All right, I'm going to make a motion to move this to the full body of the council. It doesn't look like it needs a second reading suspension either, so I think we'll have it go the full 3 readings. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, and I'll just wait for Councilwoman Conwell so we can get all the approval. We need a quorum. Okay.
Well, I would request, so this contract would be effective January 1st, so I do request the suspension for consideration.
What's the timing on our readings, council meeting?
Third reading would be our last meeting in December.
Yeah,
it would make it.
I think you'll make it with the 3 readings. Yep, we can make it with the 3 readings.
Sounds good, thank you.
Okay, all right. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right, thank you. Sorry, Ms. Conwell. All right, and the last item, if you'll read that into the record, please.
Resolution number 2017-0212, making an award on requisition number 40263 to Medical Mutual of Ohio in the amount not to exceed $303,412,998 for group healthcare benefits for county employees and their eligible dependents and Cuyahoga County Benefits Regionalization Program participants, employees, and their eligible dependents for the period 1/1/2018 through 12/31/2020.
All right. Ms. Woods?
Yes, so again, we were busy with our RFP process this year. So we did put out the RFP for medical vendors. We did have responses, 6 responses from different medical providers. And we did make the recommendation to reduce our plan down to 2 vendors. So the recommendation is to go with the Medical Mutual of Ohio. Our second choice was the Metro Health Services, with eliminating that United Healthcare plan. And I'll take a minute just to recap the recommendation to eliminate the United Healthcare option. So we received notice earlier this fall that Medical Mutual was expanding their network, that the university hospital systems were now covered fully under the Metro Health plan, the Medical Mutual plan. Mm-hmm. And as a result of this RFP process, it gave us an opportunity again to evaluate all of the fees and the costs related to the plan. And what we found coming through the process was that UHC's proposed administrative costs for 2018 were going to be 78.2% higher than MMO's proposed administrative costs. The UHC proposal for 2018 administrative rates, it represented an increase of 49% over 2017, while MMO offered a reduction in their administrative fees for 2018. So with the expansion of university hospitals under that Metro plan and with some of those cost increases, we did decide to eliminate that United Healthcare option effective January 1st. With the expansion of all the university hospitals under the Medical Mutual plan, looking at the numbers, we did not anticipate a high impact to employees. Most of them are utilizing those university hospital networks and therefore can access them again through Medical Mutual. So we did look at expanding that Medical Mutual option as a result of eliminating the United Healthcare plan in January. We are offering 2 plans under Medical Mutual. We'll have a EPO plan and a PPO plan. The difference between the 2 plans, of course, differences in premiums and deductibles and some copays, as well as that PPO network does provide out-of-network access. So we are looking at renewing the 3-year contract with Medical Mutual.
Is open enrollment currently going on right now?
It is complete.
It is complete,
yes.
Okay. And what type of transition did you see? Can you speak to that a little bit from eliminating the the United Healthcare to Medical Mutual?
Yes.
Like number of people it affected or who changed?
Yes, so we had just a little over 1,700 employees in the United Healthcare plans. So of course, 1,700 employees. What we did for this open enrollment process is that if employees did not actively, if they did not want to go in and enroll, they would maintain in their same plan that they were currently in. Unless they were in UHC, they would get defaulted into that medical mutual EPO option unless they went in to enroll in a different plan. So 1,700 employees under that previously. And on that sheet that I provided you with the handout, it gives where we thought the projections were going to be for migration of those UHC participants. And you'll see that the majority of people covered under that plan actually moved to that MMO PPO option. And again, that PPO option is the option that provides out-of-network coverage. So when we were looking at the medical mutual plans, we really wanted to make sure that we had a similar plan to how we had built the UHC plan. Those plans had a 80-20 and a 90-10 option. So that's what we looked at for medical mutual, and that PPO plan is more of your, similar to the 90-10 setup for copays and deductibles. So we did see a large amount go into that PPO plan with the remaining going into the MMO POS plan.
All right. Any questions, comments, or concerns from the committee? None for me. All right. Okay. Thank you very much, Ms. Woods. This will also move to the full body of the council. I'll make a motion for it to move to the full body of the council. My apologies. Is there a second? I mean, 3 readings. Yeah, there will be 3. It's because the contract starts on January 1st, and that will afford us the opportunity to give it the full 3 readings, which I know the members of this body appreciate. So it has been moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right, this will move to the full body of the council for 3 readings. Thank you so much. All right, is there any miscellaneous business from my colleagues? Nope, none from me. Any public comments?
No, no one has signed in.
All right, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for your time.